In one of Southern California's most brutal chases, a driver attempted a dangerous evasion of police. Corona, California. A suspect rammed police cars, drove onto the opposite side of Interstate 91, and then ran across the tracks in an attempt to evade arrest during a chase in Corona. Chaos erupted after police began pursuing a stolen work truck in La Habra. The chase wound through Orange, San Bernardino, and Riverside counties. Air 7 HDDV was following the chase around 9:20 p.m. as the suspect drove at moderate speeds on freeways in the Norco area. The chase quickly turned onto Interstates 15 and 91, ending in the area of Maple and 6th Streets. At that point, the chase took a dangerous turn as the suspect struck the police cars surrounding the truck.
Another intersection. You can see looks like that might be a California Highway Patrol unit. It is. That's actually blocking the intersection, blocking cross traffic from 6th Street there. And now the work truck looks to make a turn onto the 15 freeway. So we are now getting onto the freeway. The stolen work truck continuing this chase onto the southbound side of the 15 freeway. What was a slow speed pursuit now picking up speed here, and we'll see just what kind of behavior we see from this driver on the freeway. Again, for most of this pursuit, almost all of this pursuit has been on surface streets, and now we find ourselves on the freeway, I believe, for the first time, and you can see still only doing about 50 miles per hour. Now pushing 60, continuing with very little traffic on the freeway. Still those 3 La Habra PD units and a California Highway Patrol unit, a couple of them helping out here very minimally. But now that it's on the freeway, they may very well hand this off to California Highway Patrol if there's a willingness to do so. So we'll see if that handoff takes place or if they stick with it and continue to dedicate these 3 La Habra PD units to this pursuit, which really is showing no signs of giving up, and it'll be a question for the supervisor as to how far along they want to take this. But in any event, you can see them continuing southbound on the 15 freeway at about 60 miles per hour. Those 3 La Habra PD units holding steady about 5 to 6 car lengths behind that suspect vehicle is the primary unit, and then the other 2 right behind him. So a primary unit, a secondary unit, and backup all engaged in this pursuit, but still we will wait to see if they're either getting ready or eventually make the decision to hand this off to CHP. Hugging that right lane there, picking up some more speed now, closing in on 80 miles per hour, but maybe looking for an exit opportunity. We'll see if he sticks with that far right lane or starts to move over. There is Hidden Valley, and he just bypassed that exit ramp. So continuing to commit to the 15 freeway as we make our way south through Riverside County. A little bit of traffic in their way here and looking to weave around that driver pulling over, and now you can see the suspect vehicle continuing to hold steady in that number 4 lane there. So bypassing the exit, still though staying to the right generally speaking. If he sees an opportunity, he may use the exit ramp to try and lose those units, but at these speeds it'll be difficult to lose those La Habra PD units who are pretty dedicated to this pursuit, pretty committed, I should say, as he now takes the fork in the road, and that's going to put him onto, let's see here. That'll be the 91 freeway, and it looks like he's going west. So the westbound side of the 91 as we continue through this interchange here, and we'll see if anything changes. But now making some moves here and deciding to stick with the freeway where traffic is going to be a little bit busier on the 91 freeway. We'll see if that was a smart decision on their part there, but still La Habra PD with plenty of room to follow this stolen work truck. So a Grand Theft Auto suspect behind the wheel of that work truck right there. It's an unmarked unit. It looks like there might be some writing on the door, but we really can't make it out. At least I can't. Are you able to see that, Josh? Is it Cisco? It's a Cisco truck. Look at that. Okay, so it's a Cisco truck, or a truck that belongs to Cisco, and you can see the driver that apparently stole this truck continuing now. Westbound 91 freeway, definitely speeding up a little bit with some cars in his way here. As I mentioned, traffic does slow down a little bit, or at least a few more brake lights, a little more volume on the westbound side of the 91 freeway, a little heavier coming the opposite direction, but he got to the westbound side, still doing about 50 miles per hour as he sticks right behind that car there. He has plenty of opportunity to go around that person, but still hugging the right side of the freeway. There he does. There he is. He's going around that driver and then moving back over, I think, to the right there. So still edging to the right with these 3 La Habra PD units in pursuit. Once again, if you're just joining us on abc7.com and our 24/7 streaming channels, we're over a pursuit along the 91 freeway here in Corona. La Habra PD chasing this stolen work truck through Orange County into Riverside, all the way down the 15 freeway and then onto the 91 freeway where we are now, just getting off of the 91, westbound side of the 91, getting off at what may be Maple Street here, coming up on a traffic light. As long as he's been on surface streets, has not bothered to stop for many red lights, and in this case, he's got the green light coming to a stop at the green light at the entrance ramp. Look at that, pulling into reverse, reversing into that La Habra PD unit, that primary unit standing still as that work truck rams into the hood of that SUV. Look at this, ramming in again in reverse. That work truck now pulling it into reverse, ramming into the front of that PD unit for no apparent reason here, but the charges have just been amped up dramatically here as he pulls into an industrial area. And look at this wild pit there, full speed into the front of the work truck, boxing him in here, and now they will be forced to use force if this driver does anything threatening whatsoever. Look at this, backing up into those black and whites. He's backing up and shoving those units out of the way. Desperate to get away, officers with their guns drawn, and the K9 unit now, look at this, over the tree, through the trees, and trying to get away. He's through private property, running through a fence here. He's trying to ram through a fence, trying to get through those trees, and these units have to get back in their vehicles. 3 La Habra PD units are going to be calling for backup here, and now California Highway Patrol may very well be getting involved sooner rather than later. Look at this. These vehicles are going to, look at that! The primary unit ramming full speed again! That vehicle is now disabled. The primary unit is now completely disabled. That work truck taking the fence with them and now getting on to the freeway, I think. He just got onto the freeway. He's going the wrong way on the freeway. He's going the wrong way on the 91. He's going eastbound on the westbound side of the 91 freeway. A stolen work truck ramming into police officers, refusing to pull over after what was a relatively tame pursuit, has now gone completely off the rails here as we now go eastbound on the 91 freeway with debris being dragged along the freeway. That work truck ramming into 3 separate La Habra PD units, those officers jumping out of their vehicle with their guns drawn and then ramming full speed into this work truck. And now this work truck appears to be having mobility issues now, as he faces oncoming traffic. He's come to a standstill as he faces oncoming traffic on the westbound side of the 91 freeway. He went full bumper cars with those La Habra PD units and then rammed over a fence, took out a tree, and it looks like that front left wheel might be in trouble there. I can't tell. I can't tell whether that is it just my view here or if that the whole front might be crooked. That front axle looks a little bit messed up, but now look at this. Look at the agitated driver behind the wheel here. This driver creating lots of havoc now, and now there's going to be a major confrontation as soon as California Highway Patrol gets into position here. Look at that. It's a female driver jumping out of the vehicle, running into across lanes. Look at this. Oh my goodness. The female driver running across the 91 freeway. Those drivers don't see her. She is not well. She's not well. She's not well. And she is now running for it, crossing all lanes of the 91 freeway, now using the shoulder. You see the night sun up above there by the California Highway Patrol. This woman continuing the run of her life as she has now made it to the other side of the freeway, looking for a hiding spot at a Denny's. She's at a Denny's parking lot on the other side of the 91 freeway. She abandoned the work truck, and now she's trying to wave down somebody for some assistance here. She is a desperate individual who is acting very, very erratic. Well, the wig just fell off. Guys, this is out of control. This is just out of control. This person now running through the front of the Denny's and now into the Denny's, running into the Denny's. Or Carl's Jr. Is there a Carl's Jr. or a Denny? That's the Denny's. So there's a Carl's Jr. next door. That person just ran into the Denny's with, I think those may be the original La Habra PD units. I can't tell. They certainly can't all be, because at least one of those units was pretty much disabled. And now you can see a number of officers entering the restaurant here, going inside the Denny's to place that person under arrest. A wild end to a wild chase that is just breathtaking. I mean, a complete desperation. And now this will hopefully come to an end. We can't see what's going on inside the restaurant there, but there are people coming out of the restaurant, cell phones out, looking for, look at this, they're still running. They can't find her. They can't find her. She may be coming out the rear of the restaurant. There are officers now surrounding the Denny's. They still don't have a visual of her. They still can't find her. Patrons coming out of the restaurant. Police surrounding the restaurant. And at this point, no sight of this person. No sight of that suspect, who may be hiding out somewhere in the building, maybe in the kitchen, maybe in a closet. Who knows where that person has found a hiding spot. But by my account, it does not appear that they have a beat on that suspect. They cannot find her. They cannot find her. They have canine units on the scene there. Additional police units pulling up into position here, looking for that person who ran into the Denny's. This is incredible. Where could she be? Let's go ahead and widen out slightly. I just want to get an idea of what's going on with the vehicle that is now blocking the westbound lanes of traffic. Police have now shut down the westbound side of the 91 freeway. They've shut down the freeway as they attend to that stolen vehicle, which was now abandoned on the freeway. The driver jumping out of the westbound side of the 91 freeway after going the wrong way, and then on foot ran across all lanes of the eastbound side of the 91 freeway. You see the westbound side of the 91 completely shut down, and then that woman ran right into that Denny's where they are looking for her or any sign of her. There is a K-9 unit right there. It looks like officers are standing by at the door with their guns drawn and may be communicating, but we will see what happens here. Very difficult to tell what's going on inside that restaurant. Wow. Josh, could you push in on one of those and let me know which agency is that down there? I just want to get an accurate reading of who else is showing up here. It looks like La Habra PD. We've got California Highway Patrol. Who else is here? There's some other agencies as well. Corona PD. And I believe we are in Corona's jurisdiction, so that would make sense why so many of these units appear to be Corona PD units and maybe even a Riverside County Sheriff or two. But you can see those officers now crowding the entrance to the restaurant. The K-9 unit ready, but in the background there, as they appear to have somebody who they're communicating with. They are standing by at the entrance to the restaurant with their guns drawn, but they appear hesitant to enter the restaurant any further, and we'll see if it is indeed the suspect who they're communicating with. But a wild end here as this suspect appears to be hiding out inside of this Denny's. More officers arriving on scene. Corona PD providing backup here for those La Habra PD units. At least one or two of them was able to get out of that situation where they were pretty much boxed in by that fence. They tried to box the suspect in and basically tried to, I don't know if you'd call it a pit maneuver, but they basically ran full speed into that work truck, which took the beating and kept on going through the fence, taking out a tree, and it certainly looked like at least one of those La Habra PD units was completely disabled. It just was no match for that work truck. And the work truck kept on going over the tree, through the fence, and then right on to the wrong side of the freeway. What an end to this pursuit. Again, this is all coming to a stop here. This is the Denny's along the 91 freeway and 6th Street. There's that unit, that stolen work truck, which came to rest on the westbound side facing eastbound. California Highway Patrol now shutting down the entire freeway. There's going to be an investigation here, but hopefully they may be able to open up at least one lane. But first, they're going to have to call for a flatbed to get that truck out of there because it's causing a danger in the westbound side of traffic there, and we don't even know if there's any other debris in the roadway there. So officers still on both sides of the restaurant here, traffic moving forward on the eastbound side of the 91 freeway, and a hunt going on for that suspect who lost their wig. By my estimation, it certainly appeared to be a female running across the freeway, but it looked like a blonde wig that fell right off as she ran into that Denny's parking lot, and now the eastbound side of the 91 freeway has come to a halt as well. So California Highway Patrol, and they've been fully mobilized here. They have now a complete shutdown of the 91 freeway, both eastbound and westbound traffic coming to a stop as they prepare to collect any evidence and then get that truck out of the way. It's going to be a few minutes, but you can see there's that La Habra PD unit that crashed right into the work truck and then into the tree, and is pretty smashed up there. He's not going anywhere, but it looks like the other two La Habra units were able to make chase under the freeway and get over to the other side where this Denny's is. And now they are accompanied by Corona PD and California Highway Patrol officers at this Denny's location right along the 91 freeway. Just widen out just a second, Josh. I want to get the exact cross street here of this Denny's location. That is going to be 6th Street, or Frontage Road, also 6th Street, and Paseo Grande. So Paseo Grande and 6th Street. Still don't have that suspect in custody. Let's go ahead and push back in on the Denny's and see if they are making any progress. Dan, let's go ahead and do an orbit around this Denny's and see if there's any sign of those officers who were at the entrance but now appear to have made their way inside the restaurant, some of them. There's a group of officers in the back of the restaurant, and it either appears as though this person is hiding or just refusing to give up. Maybe they are communicating with her. Still looking for any sign of movement outside of this Denny's location where you can see officers in the front, officers in the back, but still no sign of that suspect. Now, some people were able to make their way out of the building in the early minutes of police arriving at the Denny's, but we don't know if there's additional people in there. God forbid any hostages that may be held up against their will. But right now, just too early to say. Just lots of police activity surrounding this Denny's location at 6th Street and Paseo Grande here in Corona. That's the 91 freeway along the right side of your screen. It looks like eastbound and westbound traffic has now been reopened here, so they've moved that vehicle out of the way, off to the side of the freeway. That suspect vehicle is now off to the right shoulder of the westbound side. There's the stolen work truck there. And now traffic has reopened on the freeway. You see very heavy front-end damage there. Let's go back over to the Denny's where the suspect who fled that vehicle is believed to be hiding out still inside that Denny's restaurant. Once again, all eyes on this Denny's restaurant. If you're just joining us, a wild chase ending along the 91 freeway here in Corona. The suspect jumping out of the vehicle, crossing all lanes of the 91 on foot, and then running into a Denny's restaurant where we have yet to see her coming out. There are police on scene down there from a number of different agencies. You can see all of the activity in the parking lot there. Unclear what is taking place inside that restaurant, and unclear whether anybody else is in danger. So still a fluid situation. You can see that night sun coming from the helicopter above, keeping an eye on this suspect search. And you would expect to see a few more units in the rear there, but there are a handful of units in the back of the restaurant, and now an officer or two coming from the front, running across the front of the restaurant. Just impossible to say with any certainty whether this person is in custody inside the restaurant or whether they are still a threat. But they ran into that Denny's restaurant to hide out. Appeared to be a woman who lost a wig. That's the wig right there. As she was running around the corner, the wig came flying off, and now you see more officers running into the restaurant. Is now in custody as they leave the rear of the property unmanned. It certainly appears as though this may be wrapping up, and hopefully in the next couple of minutes here we'll see that suspect walked out of the front of the restaurant, and here she is. There she is. Finally, they've been able to take her into custody after hiding out inside that restaurant. It appears that she was locked up somewhere in there, and they have finally been able to extract her from this restaurant, now placing her under arrest after what was just a wild and crazy pursuit ending here in Corona. Hey, Brittany, go ahead. Okay, great. I'll make it obvious.
The suspect rammed the police cars, drove onto the opposite side of Interstate 91. The driver removed a fence and ended up on the other side of Interstate 91. With the truck damaged, the suspect ran into oncoming traffic and dodged speeding cars. After crossing the highway, the suspect ran across a parking lot, his wig falling off as they searched for a place to escape. Police raided a nearby Denny's restaurant after the suspect ran inside and tried to hide there. A man named Steven says he was taking an order when the suspect ran inside. He said, "There was only one man in the restaurant, and the woman ran in, pulled out a gun, and ran back out. The police immediately followed her. It looked like a gun. I'm assuming it was a gun." After a lengthy standoff, the suspect was arrested and taken away by ambulance. No officers were injured. The 26-year-old driver now faces charges of assault with a deadly weapon on officers, possession of stolen property, and escape. Police say she is on parole for the robbery.
Copy. Thank you, Brittany. Can't tell.